Well, let's bring in our crypto expert. She is our Emily Nicolle. Thank you, Emily, for joining us. So Coinbase reporting earnings after market close tonight. What are we expecting to see?
So we're definitely expecting a mixed bag from Coinbase here. Even though shares have popped for the fifth consecutive day yesterday after the BlackRock announcement last week, it's definitely still going to be a down quarter for Coinbase. Analysts are expecting a decline of more than 50% on trading volumes, a 6% decrease in monthly transacting users, and a 62% drop in revenue. The crypto winter is definitely still biting on the financials, but that doesn't mean the long-term outlook is going to be any different. Most analysts still have a buy or an outperform rating on the stock. And so we kind of expect this to be a bit of a tricky period for Coinbase in the short term, but long term, it's still positive for the stock.
So, Emily, will the deal with BlackRock have any lasting effects on investor optimism around Coinbase?
Well, if you listen to analysts, they definitely think that's the case. I mean, obviously, the share pop on Friday after the announcement was quite big. There seems to be a lot of investor optimism, particularly among traditional markets, at least, on Coinbase shares. But in crypto, it's a slightly different story. Actually, on Friday, Bitcoin fell. A lot of the cryptocurrencies were still struggling slightly. And that kind of shows you, I guess, the difference in opinion here as to what Coinbase's partnership with BlackRock really means for the company. You'd think that it would be, a massive rise for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies when you hear one of the biggest crypto companies is making a really huge deal with a traditional finance firm. And 3 or 4 years ago, that would definitely have been the case. But it didn't play out that way last week. And so we'll see kind of what comes further down the line.
Kathy Wood also mentioned regulatory uncertainty, Emily, as to why her funds sold off their coin shares. So what's the state of play at the minute with the SEC, Coinbase, and crypto more generally?
So Coinbase is definitely in the crosshairs for the SEC at the minute. It's found itself at the center of several disputes, some to do with, insider trading within Coinbase, some to do with, whether or not assets that it lists are considered securities or not. In the eyes of the SEC, they are. In the eyes of Coinbase, nothing it lists as a security, particularly because I don't think it would have the permissions to continue doing that if they were securities. And so it's definitely, going through a bit of a rocky patch. And as the SEC steps up its enforcement, it's added more than 50 people to its enforcement division or plans to this year. It's going to be a tough time for crypto companies, especially ones as big as Coinbase.